Hi, hello. Welcome back to Citizens Crime Watch podcast. My name is Alina Lopez. I'll be your hostess today, and we will be discussing a very interesting topic about youth programs that are available through Miami-Dade Police Department. And with us, we have Sergeant Joseph Bermudez again with us. Great guest. I love having him on the show.
Awesome. Thank you. Happy to be back and be here and excited to get this information out to the community.
And we have a lot of information to cover today. So, well, before we hand the mic over to you, Citizens Crime Watch does have a youth crime watch program, and that'll be another podcast that we will be featuring. But that's a program that we have for the schools, in the schools for the kids, to teach them about crime prevention and bullying and a whole bunch of different topics. So, Sergeant Bermudez, Miami-Dade Police Department has an array of programs for our youth. I have, in the back of my mind, I know a lot of people know some of these programs, but let's go ahead and highlight these programs that are available to youth.
Well, as we've discussed before, crime prevention, one of the most important things when it comes to crime prevention is awareness. And what better way to instill awareness when it comes to the issues in today's society than dealing with children and, trying to get in there at a young age and educate them, try to keep them from steering in the wrong direction, and also to try to teach them about things out there that they may come across where we can help them and give them some tools to make good decisions. Our department, as I stated before, I work for the Community and Youth Outreach section. Under that section, we handle the majority of the youth programs for the department. We start off, probably our earliest program would be the D.A.R.E program. That is a drug awareness resistance education. And that is a nationally recognized program. It's a nationally certified program. So our officers do go off for the training, and they get certified, a 2-week class that they get certified in. We teach it. They have various stages that the D.A.R.E program teaches. Our department focuses on the 5th grade curriculum. It's a program that's done in the 5th grade. The curriculum runs about 10 weeks. It's about 10 weeks long. Throughout that curriculum, the kids are talked about. They talk about different things such as obviously the drug aspect of it, alcohol, tobacco, so the chemical stuff that they got to deal with growing up. But then they've also changed. The curriculum has really changed in the years, and now we do talk about conflict resolution. We touch about bullying somewhat, and just basically, like I said, trying to give them the tools to be able to make good decisions, especially at a young age. We've seen that times are really different than when I was growing up,
Yes.
and kids are faced with a lot more tougher things, a lot more tougher scenarios at a younger age than when we were growing up. So we got to get them young. So we work with these kids. Currently, Miami-Dade, unfortunately, we talked about how we're in the times of COVID. So our D.A.R.E program has taken a hit, like any other thing in around town or in the country has been affected. Prior to COVID, we were in about 125 schools throughout Miami-Dade County. That's unincorporated. That's public schools. That's private schools, charter schools.
Private schools as well?
Yes, we were.
Oh.
Yeah, we took care of private schools as well. So we affected a lot of kids throughout the years. Educating them. Now with COVID, it's a little bit different. Obviously, we have to adapt, just like the school system has adapted. So a lot of our schools, some have come back to the program, have invited us back in. So we're not at the high numbers that we used to be before. We hope to get back soon, but we do work at a virtual level and some at an in-person level. So we are back in the schools, the ones that allow us to go back and teach in person. My officers are in there running the curriculum, and those that for some reason that don't have that affordability, we do go the route of virtual teaching. So we'll be part of the curriculum with the teacher, however they teach via Zoom, Microsoft Teams, whatever it is that they're using. They'll bring us in, and the officers will teach the lesson through virtual classroom.
Which is what everybody's doing nowadays.
Yeah, it's
Everything's
basic.
virtual.
You
So
know what?
you have
It's
to adapt
what does it
or
say exactly? It's what they say, the new norm.
yeah.
So it's funny.
Oh.
So now we all become famous. We're all TV stars, I guess, in our own little world here. But the officers, I really have, I think, some of the best D.A.R.E officers around. I'm very proud of each and every one of them. They do a fantastic job. I'm constantly getting accolades from the teachers on their performances, and I think they've been able to adapt as well. So they're able to keep the attention, draw the kids in, and still do their job and get the message across, even in a virtual world.
And now the D.A.R.E officers, do they go to a special training? Do they have? Are they just picked and hey, you're going to be a D.A.R.E officer, or how does that work?
Well, when we obviously when we go through the process of interviewing an individual for a D.A.R.E officer position, it takes a special type of person. You need to be able to communicate. You got to have the patience to deal with kids. So for the parents out there, you feel me. It's not easy. So we go through an interview process. We talk to them. We see how they are, how they communicate, if they're able to be able to be put in that scenario where they're teaching 30, 40 kids at one time. Once they're selected, they are sent, like I said, to a training program. They run them around the state yearly. Last year, like COVID, everything was canceled, so we didn't have anything last year. But they usually run it somewhere around the middle of the state, and they're sent away for it's a two-week class. And during that 2-week class, they're taught the curriculum. And it is, like I said, there is a national certified program, national recognized program. It started back in the early 80s in California, and it spread nationwide. So they're taught this curriculum. It's a 10-week curriculum that they're taught. It's a workbook-based curriculum. So each child gets a workbook with a weekly lesson. And these officers, it's kind of interesting because we get, they go through and they go through as students. Yeah. So they're taught the lessons that they're going to be teaching down the line. And then, they're taught the craft and they're taught how to refine what they're going to do. And they teach their curriculum. Each one has their own little flair and they add their own little thing to it,
Right.
A lot of little exactly. It's like anything, you can't be a robot. And that's one of the things we look for when we interview these officers. You can't have the guy that's just going to get there and read the script. Drugs are bad. Alcohol is bad. Cigarettes are bad. You got to be able to talk, drugs are bad because of this. And this, the experience I had, this is what I dealt with when I came across someone using drugs. This is what it leads you to, the crimes. So being able to throw a little spin onto what they're teaching and put some real life stories into it. Obviously not too graphic or too hardcore because, they are fifth graders. But, our D.A.R.E officers are really, really good at bringing it and making it their own. So.
And I wanted to ask you, do you know, I know it's kind of hard. It's just like crime prevention, that it's difficult to really gauge if it makes an impact. So does D.A.R.E really make an impact in these children's lives? Do you see a reduction in the use of
it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. It's it's one of the things that we get into when we always talk about crime prevention. People look, how can you show statistically that you're making a difference? And it's hard. It's not like say you want to try to reduce burglaries in an area, you can say, okay, we made arrests, we made 15 arrests, and because we made 15 arrests, burglaries are down 20%. It's hard to say because we're not following up with these kids 10 years from now and say, hey, are you using drugs? And doing.
Were you in the D.A.R.E
Were
class?
you in our D.A.R.E class and are you using drugs now? But I can tell you this. First and foremost, it's amazing. Like I told you before, I've been on 28 years, and it's amazing when I've been at events. Like when we set up, sometimes we'll set up at the youth fair, do a crime prevention booth, or even just a community event, and it's very meaningful when someone comes up to you and goes, Sergeant Bermudez, do you remember me? And sometimes I got to look at him like, yeah, I'm getting a little old here. So sometimes I can't remember where I parked my car. So, but that was something else we talked about in crime prevention. But, exactly. Last podcast. So I got to do what I say. But, it's amazing when they come up to you and say, you remember me? I was one of your D.A.R.E students, or I was one of your, stands. I was in some class. You talked to me about this, and and they say, I stayed out of trouble because of something that you told me, or the things you told me. I remember what you told me back then, and I mean, it may sound a little quirky, but in the end, if you can keep one child from becoming a drug addict or going down that path, I think the program's 100% successful.
And you took the words right out of my mouth, because when I used to do the Crime Watch meetings, the same thing. I would say, if I can reach one neighbor, one individual, if in these trainings that we would do, or just talks and about the different topics, if I can get to just one person,
Exactly.
I did my job.
You succeeded. That's
So
a person. That's a person that's gonna have.
and they're gonna go and tell somebody else. Maybe,
Exactly. And then you
hey.
go down that road. You affect the one person, and then he's with a friend, and the friend says, "Hey, we should do." No, we shouldn't do that because this, because he's the one that did listen in class. So yeah, you got, like I said, I've been a strong advocate of that. That if you can affect one kid, I mean, you've done your job. So, but obviously, we always want to. We'd love to see that, every child that we talk to, we think, we made a difference in their lives. And I think maybe you do a little bit,
one way or another.
Exactly. Not everybody's perfect, but I think if you get to them young enough, you're able to talk to them and give them a little bit. Put that little a little person on their shoulder, a little conscience, to be there and remind them when they got to make a decision of good and bad consequences. So.
Okay. Well, I think we've pretty much covered
D.A.R.E there. Yeah. So, and we don't stop there. We do have a lot of programs within the department.
That's just like one of the most famous ones.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember growing up in the 80s.
Right.
I went to private school, but we didn't have D.A.R.E in my school. But it was, it was known. And then,
you have to give me that school and make sure we're there. Make an effort to go back.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's a charter school now,
Okay.
so maybe they do have.
Well, if they don't, we're gonna go back and say we're here because of Alina Lopez. So
why?
But
so other programs then that you guys.
Yeah, you can't stop there. You got throughout the years, you have to stay on these kids, and you have to keep giving them the tools to succeed in life. Obviously, once they start getting past middle school and they start getting to high school, it's a completely new set of challenges that they're faced with. Back in the early 80s, we had a program that was called Don't Let Alcohol Be Your Last Taste of Life. And it was a program that we focused and worked primarily with MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and S.T.A.N.D, the Students Against Drunk Driving, or eventually became Destructive Decisions. And we worked heavily with them for several years because we saw that was a big problem. Underage drinking was something that most teenagers are faced with at some point in their life through their high school years. So we focused on that a lot. We did a lot of things, like I said, with MAD. We did prom promises. We did educational events when they were probably times that more prevalent for that situation where drinking may come across, underage drinking may come across. We would do mock crash scenarios. So we do a lot of things that would focus, the perils, what would happen, the consequences of DUI, things of that nature. So we did a lot of that. We did that for several years. I want to say now probably about a good 6 years ago, we really started seeing, and maybe going back a little bit more than that, but really about 5-6 years ago, we kind of started seeing the need to kind of evolve. Just like anything, any good program, anything good, in life, you got to evolve, and you got to evolve with the times. And what was going on? We're seeing these kids with a whole bunch of new challenges. We're seeing these kids dealing with dating violence, dealing with date rape, dealing with now human trafficking, how it's become so prevalent. Not only now alcohol use, but drug use, and the new things in drug use. Not just the old school smoking marijuana or doing some kind of like cocaine, some kind of the drugs that everybody knew, but now we're dealing with designer drugs, club drugs as they call them, date rape drugs, and then even to the point of over-the-counter drug abuse, where these kids are stealing drugs from their grandparents, from their parents and their grandparents, to take them and abuse them. So we saw this need to kind of evolve the program, and eventually the name was changed. The program was changed, and it was changed into Students Together Against Negative Decisions, and that basically encompassed everything that a teenager may face in high school. As I obviously said, we're focusing the group of kids we're focusing on high school. So this is a program that we run in our high schools. We're in about 26, again, pre-COVID. We're in about 26 high schools throughout Miami-Dade County, and we work with their student clubs. It actually is part of one of their club programs. Some of them call it S.T.A.N.D Club. Some of them call it SAD Club still. So, but the idea, the premise is there, but the idea is now we're dealing and affecting all these different topics that they may be encountering as a high school student. So our officers go in there and they talk and they do presentations with these kids. They do club activities with these kids to kind of educate them. And again, it's all about, what's my favorite word?
Awareness.
Awareness, exactly. It's all about awareness and getting these kids aware of the consequences in making negative decisions. And we really focus on, like I said, giving them the tools to try to cope with a lot of the pressures that they have nowadays. We do a youth summit every January, so we're, knock on wood, let's see how this one goes. If we can do one, if we can pull
Social
one off this year. Yeah, maybe a little social distancing and stuff like that.
Masks.
But it's usually a full day. Of,
1 day.
Yeah, it's a one-day event on the weekend where they come in and we have guest speakers from around the country that come in and talk to them on the different topics. And then we end the day with some fun activities. We've taken them bowling before. We've done some painting exercise, like painting with a twist type thing with them. So we encompass some educational with some fun. And again, if you can mix the two of them together, they remember a little bit better. So
yeah, it creates a better environment.
Exactly,
for learning.
exactly.
It's
They're
not
more
just,
receptive.
Learn.
Right,
Okay, we're gonna have fun.
And sometimes we try to reward these kids with a little fun at the end of the day because they are giving up their Saturday to come out and learn all day. But in all the years that I've been here, we've always had an amazing group of kids that come out and really enjoy the day. We work very hard at bringing in some amazing speakers that the messages that they deliver, everything from tragedy to triumph, and it really gets a good day of learning out to these kids. So.
Wow. Okay. Well, I didn't really know too much about S.T.A.N.D. I was still old school, mad and sad. So I've learned quite a bit. Is S.T.A.N.D. in private schools too, or is just public?
Yeah, we are in
schools?
some private
same
schools.
thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
We are out there. Obviously, we are limited
Right.
to the amount of
Right.
schools that we can be in because of the fact that personnel-wise, there's nothing more than I would love to be in every single elementary school with D.A.R.E,
Yep.
and I would love to be in every single high school with S.T.A.N.D. But we are limited with personnel, so we do take schools that request us and that will allow us to come in and spread our message and educate these kids. And it's been very successful thus far. We're very, very proud of our programs that we have in the school system for these kids.
Oh, wonderful. Do you work with school police? You do
We do.
collaborations?
We
or
collaborate with
it's-
them. Well, sometimes depending on the topic, if there's something that's going on at the school, we may bring them in to jointly present with us.
Okay.
As far as the school police, they're really, when they're at the schools, they're more of a patrol type, I guess, ideal. They're there to handle any problems that are going on with the school, with the students, stuff like that. So we're more the educational component in the schools, but we're always welcome to collaborate with them. And we do have a very good relationship with all of the school board police officers in all of our schools. So it's a partnership. It's a team effort. We got to work together to make these kids, give them something to be able to survive in life. So
That's true. So if a school doesn't have any of the D.A.R.E or S.T.A.N.D programs, do your officers still go out and do any type of presentations if it's
yeah, of course. No, great.
reach out
Yeah,
to you?
great. Thanks for asking. Yeah, that's something that's really important. Just because we don't have a D.A.R.E program there, or we don't have a S.T.A.N.D program, It doesn't mean that you can be you're left out.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is reach out to my office, and we can get some officers in there to do presentations. Um, we at an elementary level, where I have an officer that he basically he's our career day guy.
Oh.
So he goes out to every career day when we had him again pre-COVID. Um, but he would go out there every day, career day, and we have our static display helicopter we take out, and the kids can climb in and learn about police work, learn about job. And then while they're learning about police work, we're also spreading a little bit of messages to him, about drug awareness and safety and stuff like that. So we compass that. But then we also do presentations depending if there's a teacher that wants some kind of presentation on a certain topic, and you don't have a D.A.R.E officer or you don't have a S.T.A.N.D officer in high school, we will gladly send an officer out there to do a presentation at your school. So we don't want anybody to feel left out.
Right.
Definitely.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Okay. Any other programs that we?
Yeah. Well, we do have other stuff that we work on within Dade County. I also supervise what's called our Police Athletic League.
Oh.
Yeah, PAL. So it may be a little bit familiar to some people. It's been around for several years. I mean, going back, it's kind of started up north a little bit. A lot of our New York listeners will probably know what PAL is. PAL is very popular up in the north part of the country. But down here, we run our program a little bit different. There are several PAL units for the different municipalities down here. Our Miami-Dade PAL, we work in a partnership with the Miami-Dade Parks program. So what we do is we don't have a specific PAL building or PAL center, like I would say. So what we'll do is we'll partner with Parks program and their after-school programs. Right now I have two main parks that we work with. On the north end is MLK Park, and on the south end is South Dade Park. So my officers will go down there after they're done teaching for the day. My two PAL officers, one will go south, one will go north, and they'll work with the kids in those two centers, and they'll maybe help with homework, tutoring. They may also, spend some time out there playing games, playing some sports, working with them and stuff like that. Within that too, as under the PAL umbrella, you want to say under the PAL program, we have a program that we call Join a Team, Not a Gang.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it was a concept that we started back in the mid '90s. Our main purpose with that is we partner with a lot of the major universities here. We partner with University of Miami, with FIU. We've partnered with Miami-Dade, some of the other universities around here. And what we do is we expose these kids to sports. And it's not pure sports because we also do work with them. We do tutoring. We've back before we used to do, we'd prep them for the state test. We'd have tutoring for that. But the main concept of Join a Team, Not a Gang is to teach them the alternatives of being on the streets. So what we say, we get them on the court, we get them off the streets. We put a ball in their hand and take a gun out of their hand. So we get them involved. We show them the alternative. We show them that if you apply yourself in a sport, that the possibilities you have. So it's great that we're able to pair, and we get a lot of these kids through different events with these universities, and they talk to the student athletes, and they learn about where they're from, where they came from, and that if you apply yourself, if you do your best, stay out of trouble, you do your schoolwork, and you apply yourself in a sport, you can get a full ride to a scholarship. You get a scholarship, a full ride to a university. And they talk to these kids that are just like them. They came from their neighborhoods, and are they're attending University of Miami for free, getting a college education because they applied themselves in a sport. So we do a lot of clinics with them, different things with track, basketball, soccer, different programs like that. And then we also take them to their games. So they'll invite us, and we'll take them to a football game, a baseball game, a soccer game, tennis game. So volleyball as well. So we expose them. We expose them to the world of sports within that. And a lot of these kids will, we pull from these areas that will maybe never have that opportunity to go to a sporting event like that. And we'll take them there and spend the day with them. And but I think the most important thing is, other than exposing them to that world, is the ability for them to interact with the student athletes. I think that's the greatest thing, other than the officers talking to them and educating them and giving them those same tools that we talk about in the other programs, is the ability to connect with student athletes that are just like them and came from their
From the
neighborhood.
university, the student
Yes, the
athletes
student
that-
athletes
oh,
from universities.
Right,
So,
right.
you know, when we do the clinics, they always have fun playing games and playing the sports and doing that stuff. But I always like, my favorite part of the clinics is the afterward. It's after. It's when we sit down and we you know, we have a meal. We break bread with these student athletes, and then the kids and the athletes talk about the importance of staying out of trouble and applying themselves and what they get out of it. You know, so it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing program.
One question maybe some of our listeners might have is, where's the funding from these programs coming from?
Well, the D.A.R.E and S.T.A.N.D programs they're county funded program. In other words, county funded. The officers they're uniformed police officers, so they are employees of the police department. A lot of the funding for our supplies and stuff come from Law Enforcement Trust Fund dollars. So we use those and we apply them to get supplies and stuff like that. As far as PAL, we are a nonprofit organization, so we are a 501c3. So we will take your money if you want to give it to us. Donation. I love that word. Yes, anybody who wants to send us money, please. But we are a self-funded program. You know, the PAL officers, the two PAL center directors are police officers, but the programs everything we do is self-funded through the 501c3. So we do fundraising events throughout the year. There's different things, and like you said, donations. We do take donations from corporations or from individuals to keep the program going. So you can pay for buses and food and uniforms for our sports teams and stuff like that. So, but it's tough sometimes, but we try to do our best.
Well, nonprofits,
the world of nonprofits,
yes.
it's incredible. So
it's a redundant story for all nonprofits. But what about like an actual story? Do you have any in mind where one of these students or kids actually became a police officer?
Well, we've had a few of them that have come up and they've said, you know, I was a D.A.R.E, I was a D.A.R.E student from this school. I was a S.T.A.N.D student from this school, and they are police officers. They made it through their high school years and stuff like that without getting into trouble, and they were able to apply that to a career in law enforcement. One of the things that we have, a lot of these kids, when they show interest in law enforcement, we can steer them in the direction of our Police Explorer program. So that is something that we have in our department. It's for kids that are 14 to 18 years of age. Any of them, they can go and apply. What you do is you go to any district station. Each district station has their own Explorer post. And once they get there, they ask to speak with the Explorer advisor at the district. And they have weekly meetings. They learn about police work. You know, it's kind of like a precursor, like gives you a little inside look to police work. So these kids, they have a summer academy where they go through. It's like a little mini boot camp for them, and they learn police tactics. They learn all about the job basically. And then at the end, when they get to be 16, 17 years old, they actually can go out there and ride with a police officer during a shift. So they're able to experience the job, and if it's something that they see that they like, it leads them to the life of police work. We actually, we have several individuals in our department that started off as police explorers. One of our assistant directors was an explorer. My chief was an explorer. So I know several sergeants that were explorers, lieutenants, and several officers that got their start in the Police Explorer program.
What a great program.
Yeah, it's a great...
I remember when we would do events and stuff, the police explorers would volunteer.
Yeah, we use them. We use them. Yeah, we bring them in, and we use them to help. And it's great because it gets them involved in the community. It gives them a little opportunity to give back in the community. So they come out and they participate in our community events with us.
So they can get community service hours?
Yeah, we do. Actually, yeah, there you go. So if you're looking for community service hours, our police officers, our Police Explorer program will, some of the events that they participate in, they're able to get community service hours for.
Is this pre-COVID or post-COVID?
Pre-COVID,
what's going
yeah.
now
It's,
with
you know,
that?
it's so
What's
hard.
going on?
You know, I just,
we don't know where we stand. Who
you know,
knows what's
I
gonna
love
happen.
talking about our program so much, and I can talk for hours on them, and, you know, and tell you all the great things we've done. You know, I've been in this section for just about 18 years now, coming almost on 20 years, but we've done a lot over the years, and it's great, and it's just we're faced with new challenges now with COVID. So I just keep hopeful, keep my fingers crossed that we can get over this hurdle and we can get back, obviously with the new norm, as they say, but we can get back to running our programs like we had them before and really impacting the kids like we did. But our Explorer program is still active. They're still out there.
Good.
They do meet. They'll meet, and they practice social distancing and all stuff like that. But they are limited. It's like anything we're doing. You know, we're limited. Our career days are down. Our community events are down. You know, we just basically, as far as the community type events that my bureau participates in, we just started getting involved in them again. You know, when pre-COVID we used to do, I could tell you before school started, we had almost 3-4 times a week. You had back to school events, and this year it was nothing. But we're still there. We're keeping strong, and we're just sitting back and waiting, riding this wave until it gets a little bit better. But we'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back strong. I have a good feeling that we'll be back strong, and we'll be back to getting to be one with the community again.
I hope so too, because all these programs are fantastic, and you know, we really just. It's kind of like a little break that we're taking, I guess we can say. But everything you say, the new norm.
We're recharging. We're recharging our batteries here.
Yeah,
so all the years we've been doing stuff, we're recharging our batteries here, and we're just going to come back stronger when we get unleashed.
I don't like the new norm. I want to say we want to go back to where we were before. But things always change.
Things change. We got to evolve.
New things. New norms. But any other programs? I think
no.
pretty much these are the
those are our main
ones.
core programs. Obviously, you know, anything crime prevention related, we're here. We're here for the community. Anything that we need, officers are always willing to come out and talk to individuals and get the information across. So feel free to reach out and get with us and call me if you need us, and we'll be there to help out. Spread our good words and try to educate the public and get them awareness. I'd love it.
And I think it's very important to also, you talk about, you know, starting them young, but it's also very important to show the youth that police aren't bad, that they're not the bad guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
if you commit a crime,
obviously,
you have to face the consequences.
You commit the crime, you're on the bad end.
Time. What is it?
Yeah,
but and that's something that we need to really continue to focus on, is showing adults too, because but you know, it starts from somewhere. They get that mentality from somewhere. But the police officers they're not the bad ones. Not, you know, but they're there to help. And if there's a problem, sometimes there's that fear. They don't even go to a police officer because they're scared, because they've been told, I'm going to arrest you. I'm going to tell the police officer you misbehave.
That's a pet peeve of mine. Let me tell you, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. And it's nothing worse than when you tell your child, you know, when they're 4 or 5 years old, and if you don't eat your vegetables, the police are going to come take you. Or you know how many times where I'm sitting there trying to have a meal, and the kid next to me is acting up, and the mom and dad say, if you don't calm down, I'm going to tell the police officer to take you to jail. And I'm like, you don't tell them that. I said, you know, the last thing you want to do is, you know, when the child is scared or they think they did something wrong or something, they need help, the last thing they want to do is run from the police. So you always want them to see police are here. They're here to help. They're here to you know, try to get you out of trouble. And that's what we try to do. We try to do that, and we try to start young and educate these kids. And like I said, my D.A.R.E officers are amazing in connecting with these kids, and a lot of it is putting in stories, personal stories, and taking the information and encompassing all of it in there, and showing these kids that, you know, we're police officers, but we're human too. you know.
Exactly.
And we make mistakes, but we try to make good choices, and you can do too. You know, the thing is about knowing the consequences of your actions and make those good choices. So we try to put that in. We start, like I said, we start young and try to work it throughout the years, and hopefully by the time they get to be young adults, they can make the right choices. They can make good decisions, and they can stay out of trouble. So that's all we can do. We can hope, and you know, and like I said, if I can get that one kid that was going down, that could have gone down the wrong road, and he thinks about it, and goes, you know what Sergeant Bermudez said made me change my mind, and to me, that's a success right there, 100%. So.
Absolutely. Do you want to leave us your contact information?
Sure.
Again,
Like I said, you know, if anybody, the teachers or anybody needs to reach out to us and get information, my number is 305-471-1745. I can be contacted there. That's on our Community and Youth Outreach section for the Public Information Education Bureau. But you could also go to our county website, our police website, and under community programs and stuff like that, there's all different tabs on the different things that we have available, you know, the different programs we have, and you can find us there. You can find my email on there as well. I can give it to you if you want to remember. It's jbermudez@mdpd.com, but it can be found on the web as well.
And if you want to contact us, Citizens Crime Watch, for anything that Sergeant Bermudez talked about and you forgot his contact information.
And they can get you in contact with me. They know where to find me. So.
Or any questions about our program, you can reach us at 305-470-1670. And our website is citizenscrimewatch.org. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, thank you for having...
It was a pleasure. It's always...
being here.
Not a problem.
It's always nice to see you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
I look and talk, and hopefully,
look forward to many more chances to share our knowledge with the community. So
excellent. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Make good choices. Stay aware.
That's
We'll
it.
see you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.